It is a fantastic start to spring. Welcome back to the old school. We got a lot to cover. Let's get to it. Diving into our last episode, we ended up investing in our hog farm. I don't think I was quite prepared enough for, but we're going to tackle that objective anyway. We also bought this 97 F350. It's kind of a beater, but it really just put our finances in a bit of a tangle. So over the last few weeks, I have really been diving in hard to get this situation set as best as we can. For starters, I had to sell off the S10. I checked your guys' comments, and there was really a big influx of people saying to sell the S10. I didn't want to get rid of it, but considering someone was willing to give me $12,000 for it, that technically pays our bill to get the truck. Now comes the rest of it. Over yonder, you could see we have the DMI wagon sitting on the property. That is because our friend Walter sold that wagon to us for $5,000. In return, we sold our other one for about $2,500, as well as our cultivator, the Ford sickle mower, and my old lawnmower. But there was one last thing I had to sell to get ready for the next season, and that is the white 285. With everything getting sold, that brought us up to a grand total of $28,500. We used the Minneapolis with the help of our neighbor Marcus to knock out a job for Walter for another $16,300 in cultivating and tillage contracts. That put us up to another grand total of $44,800. Meaning with our last known funds of $16,000, roughly $500, that puts us at a rough number of about 60 grand. So what did we do with that? Well, I just told you we bought a gravity wagon. But number two, you might have just seen what was sitting behind the Minneapolis. We sold off our little seed drill for about $500, and we got the 12-row Cyclone from Marcus. But wait, there's more. In addition to this, we also invested in a system to help making Feed the Pigs a lot more simple. We're still going to keep the garden, so that way we can sell all the produce and have extra cash flow. But up on the loft of the old animal barn, we got ourselves a pig feed mixer. We'll be able to dump corn straight into this, grind it up, and make pig food directly so we can feed the hogs with a very efficient and quick system. We also talked to Sap Bros about getting our fuel tank topped off because with the back of the Ford, one of the comments, or a couple comments, said we should keep the toolbox that was in the back of the S10. Here's the problem. The bed on this truck is significantly bigger than the one on the S10, so we had to sell the toolbox with the old truck, and I came across on Marketplace this old cam locker, as well as a transfer tank, which we put the remainder of the fuel from the barrel into the tank and then filled that up for another $2 grand. That cost me about $1,700 in total. And we also bought another lawnmower. Someone gave me about $1,000 for the Husqvarna, and once again to Marketplace, we found a 330 diesel. Kind of looks like my 317, except it didn't have the cab. Still want to keep the property looking nice, but it was $850. But that leaves us now without a spraying tractor, planting tractor, and really anything else because that one does not have row crop tires. That is where this map's dealership comes into play. We got to head down south because there is a Oliver 1955 on the market right now for $15,000. It's got 120 PTO horsepower. It's been tuned up from its base 108, but I think it's gonna do just fine for the farm because it is another cabbed tractor. Let's get on the road and finally get out of this financial chaotic mess that I have put myself in. I forgot I was gonna wash the truck off, so give me just a second. Oh wow, this thing cleaned up nice. It also cleaned up really fast. Now that that is all out of the way, if you guys love old school, you love realism, you love trying to figure out how to make the best case scenario out of a bad situation, be sure to head down below, consider smashing that like button, possibly even subscribing. Why is the force? Oh, that's right, because that's where all my stuff was. I'm like, I already bought the property. But man, oh man, did this truck clean up nice. I did use Andy Clean. That might be part of the solution. And I do not have a trailer to pull this tractor home, but it's not really that long of a drive, so we probably don't really need to worry about that. The white tractor, as much as I would have absolutely loved to keep that thing, it really just had the problem that it was underpowered and I did not have a cab. I used that as a spraying tractor and that's just not safe, and it also really limited what I could do with it. I'm not saying that these cabs are really, super secure and have complete airtight seals, but a cab is better than no cab. This thing is, they did a fantastic job cleaning this thing up. Paint's a little dull, But I'm sure with a buff and polish, this thing would come out looking perfect. A little over 6,700 hours on this. And it fires like a top. Kind of like my old hay series on Griffin, Indiana. We had a 1755, but that one just had the canopy. It did not have an entire cab. Pretty sure the Minneapolis is faster than this, but again, we're looking for something that can plant, spray, and do all of our other needed tasks without risking our own health, wellness, and really putting that much strain on the machinery. We'll probably be sucking more fuel since it's been tuned up, but the 4440 that is over at Walters, I just can't really sum up the money that he's looking for that. He wants almost 25 grand for it, and I can't. This is going to be a little cheaper. Plus, I like Oliver. As we roll back into the farmyard, something I did forget to mention is on the very bottom half of the map, we apparently owned this very, very long and skinny strip of land. I don't know how that came to be. I don't remember buying it. I don't remember doing any sort of weird stuff. But that means we have an extra chunk of farm ground come our next crop year. So let's just see how much that's going to... I mean, realistically, yeah. So let's take care of that. What does our nitrogen? Perfect. It can go straight to beans. pH is going to need to be balanced, but I think it's a little late to really drop a whole load on top of that unless I just wanted to do it out of season. And there's no data for the yield or seed rate because we haven't done anything to it. On the topic of seeding, covering back to our nitrogen, we are going to have 4 plots of corn to now 3 plots of beans. 13, 18, and 1 are all going to be beans. 9, 10, 19, and 30, corn. I did not buy any seed in advance, so we're going to have to go to the co-op and get that, or at least have something shipped in. Do we have any pig food that's in the used market that I can kind of save some time on? Maybe even some seed? Urea. That's fertilizer. All right, well, there's some pig food. Okay, I'll do that. It ain't much, but it's an honest living. More urea, mineral feed, and I do not see any seed. Dang it. The only thing about that plot down south is that it never got cultivated, so we will have to send the Moline down to get that ripped up. Something fun about this A4T is that I saw one this year at Farm Progress 2025. You guys want to check that video out? That's in the top right-hand corner. The only difference on that tractor is that it was apparently painted red at some point, and it did not have the cab. The other nice thing is that I spent some time over the remainder of winter doing some rewiring. We finally fixed the flashers! I've been riding for what looked to be a right turn signal for the last 3 months. Drove me nuts. I'll probably get Andy, Craig, or Daryl to get started on the tillage. That way I can set the planter, and hopefully by the time that's ready to go, we'll have somebody bring back a pallet of seed, and we can start getting that stuff planted.
12 seconds later.
I love it when the AI decides that it wants to do its own thing. Apparently it's like, oh yeah, you can't do that in this field. It's not ready to do that task. So we're gonna have to till this field by hand. Nice. Where's Big Tractor Power when you need him? This would be great for a video of his. We're gonna need to get this thing in for a tune-up. I was gonna get all this stuff before we got started planting, but I ran out of time. The other thing I still need to do is get a bigger fuel tank put on the farmstead. This tractor eats through fuel, and I have no idea what the Oliver's gonna do. The white was pretty fuel efficient, and the 620, or whatever the 2-cylinder is, I don't remember how much that takes. I think that makes every piece of equipment on the farm diesel, because the lawnmower is diesel, this tractor's diesel, the 55 is diesel. No, the Deere's gas. Everything else is diesel. Depending on how well our grain prices go this season, I might start incorporating some Milo. I still feel kind of dumb that I didn't really realize grain sorghum and Milo were the same thing. What even are our grain prices? I know dry corn's going to sell for quite a bit, and depending on which kind... Ooh, we're going to have to set up a sell point. Great, that's good. That's good to know. Corn sells for $500 in June. Definitely going to want to get into the bean market. What about sorghum? Aye, sorghum's only... I don't know if that's going to be worth it or not, but I will need straw. But apparently we can do corn stock bales, so that's not going to be an issue. What about wheat? Curious about wheat. Oh no, we're not even going to mess with wheat. I do have to make a massive shout out to my comment section from the previous episode. Somebody went into detail kind of describing how the realistic animal mod works. I laughed at the original dialogue to open his comment, but by the looks of it, they give a pretty good description as to how the mod works, because I guess a lot of people are confused on it. And utilizing that knowledge to the best of my ability, we're hopefully going to be able to make this hog operation be very, very profitable. And a big round of applause. I understand that I do not know this industry anywhere near what someone working in it does, but this is why I feel our community compared to others are so great, because I want you as the viewers to help me make the best possible content where we all can learn something. I'm still going to count it as 6. This was just a little strip because the outside line was part of the headland, and then this part was a last little, what do you call it, a guilty strip? That sounds bad. Row of shame, that's what it was. I'll check back with you guys once we get to the farmstead. We'll throw some pig feed into the hopper until we can go and get some more to start making more. That way it is just off the planting and whatever else we need to do. Looks as though the Oliver is hooked up to the Cyclone. I'm gonna run with Whipple's 7870. That's 113-day corn. We ended up picking up the Pioneer, but I had to talk to the agronomist on that one, so I can't remember the number off the top of my head. We're gonna head over to the pig pen because unlike everything else on this farm, my wife was in the office earlier this morning and she wanted to go out and help name the pigs. Honey, you're gonna have to describe this. Why was each pig given the name they wanted? It was just for fun.
Well, it was mostly just for fun, so I noticed they all had numbers, and I felt like since you had, just 5 of them, they all needed names. Most of them are spotted, so that's why you got Dottie, which is a cute little one, and you got Patches, which was actually her original name, and I just liked it. And then we got Betsy and Bertha, who I've decided are sisters. And then you got Zeus, because, he's the only male there, so gets to have all the fun.
And you're forgetting about the fact that you really like Greek mythology.
That may have played a role, yes. Okay, so there we have, it looks like Zeus is the one taking a nap because he's a lazy boar. And then off to the side we have either Betsy or Bertha, and they kind of look the same, so I don't really try to tell them apart. We gotta find out where the little ones went. Maybe in the barn? Apparently they have disappeared. Okay, that's Patches. We gotta figure out where the littlest one went. Dottie, where are ya? Apparently she's playing hide and seek.
What do you say, honey? Do you think we should feed the pigs?
Yes.
Oh, shoot, the pig's running. Piggy's fed.
Oh, there's Dottie. There's Dottie over there, the cute little one. Her ear tag's almost bigger than she is. It's like she's learning how to walk. Okay, I know they're gonna go to market and turn into bacon, and they'll be delicious.
Anyways, off to planting corn. Special thanks to my wife for being a little special guest on that. It was kind of fun. No, she will not be playing Farm Sim with me. Here is our Whipples. The Pioneer is currently inside the shed. All of our rows have been dialed in. We don't really have a big row cleaner on the front of this. It's more just to kind of sift the trash out of the way. But with the cultivator that we used, a lot of the trash has already been cleared out. Let's get the bags loaded into the hoppers. And we are just going to knock out corn first. I've really yet to dial in this tractor to see how well it's going to pull, but I'm hoping with that tune-up that it got, it should pull the planter just fine. We might send the 620 or this, I can't remember if it's a 620 or a 630 because it's been a minute since I've been on this save, but we might send that to that field down south and get that rolled. So when we go to plant soybeans, that is at a seed bed. That would be the best way to plant this. Probably straight up and down. Yeah. Checking the planter depth is always a fun task. Seed depth looks good. Spacing's pretty accurate. I think we're set to rock and roll. You might be wondering, did I ever buy a corn header for the combine? And the short answer is yes. The long answer is just kidding. We picked up a really old New Holland 1043. It realistically is a case, but it's a 4-row header. If we're planting at 12 rows, what that means we'll just have 3 headlands around the main part. And with that header, while it is going to be slow on the harvest time, I think it's really going to beat out having to try and finance a bigger combine. Remember, we're trying not to go into debt as much as possible or clip the wing on a tree, but we can only have one of those things, right? Right. I'm very impressed with how it's pulling so far. I'm just hoping that that seed rate stays low. I feel like I'm sitting kind of low in this tractor, but I also think the cabin itself is kind of short. That or it's very wide and it just looks short. Can anybody confirm or deny that statement? I must just have really bad luck with my workers today. No one is able to come out and help me when it comes to actual field work. Every time I try and start them, they're like, nah, I can't do it. Tank's empty. I can't do it. I got a football game. I can't do it. I got to run to my third wife, ex-husband's goldfish's funeral. Come on, man. If you want it done right, you got to do it yourself. I got a better idea. Let's crank the radio that I did not know was in the cab, and we'll do some corn planting ourselves with 3800 the buck. Let you guys see the new Oliver in action, and we'll hopefully be able to start the up and downs going full steam ahead. Now, the only thing I did not really think about is the soybean harvest we did for Walter last fall. That was an absolute nightmare to keep up with the combine, and that was beans. Now we're throwing in corn crop. We are going to have to seriously budget to find out what our next harvester is going to be. I don't want to take a look at my options. There's nothing we're going to be able to afford in here. At least I'm pretty certain of it. Nope, not that I could see. Except that's a pretty cheap 44.55. Never mind, that's a 40.50, and that is beat to crud. But my current available options, that's not brand new or way overpriced, is a 44 series, a pheasant feeder, a 96 series, if one comes on sale for a really cheap price for some odd reason, a Walker combine, or a slightly larger TX32. What we are going to choose, I don't know, but we're likely going to be running a 6-row header with whichever one we decide. I'm going to bank on the weather pattern being a little bit wetter this season, even though a lot of these hybrids now are pretty much built to be drought resistant. Our soil type is kind of all over the place, but our seed rate has also been a lot higher than I anticipated it being. We've gone through a little over 1,000 liters of seed. If I knew how much that was a bushel, I would say it. Ugh, unit convert could not be converted faster. I swear I miss that mod with a passion. I want you guys to hit the comment section. On a scale of 1 to 10, how do you rate my realism scale? I get it, I'm not perfect, but I want to know your input. 1 being, this guy is a raging idiot who has no idea what he's doing, and 10, you swear I farm 10,000 acres, and I could tell you the chemistry behind every single kernel of corn in this planter. Be honest. There is plot number 1. Field 30 is going to be one of our bigger chunks of ground. And as much as I'd like to say it's not going to matter because when we harvest beans, it'll go quicker, bean header and the corn header are roughly almost the same width. I say that's pretty good. Let's pack up shop and head over to Katie's ground. Wait, this is Katie's ground. I mean the other part of Katie's ground. Every video might be someone's first video, so if you've missed out on it, a lot of land that I currently own is not all exactly mine. Plot 30, 10, and 9 belong to Katie down in the southeast corner, and plot 13 was David's. And then last episode, we sold off field 15 as part of our agreement to buy the 7.3 I currently drive. Do I miss the alfalfa ground? Absolutely. But you gotta make sacrifices if you're gonna be able to grow the farm. And I think where we're currently sitting at, where we were last year at this time, we're doing a lot better. That alfalfa does look like it's coming in nice. I just hope we don't have any hillsides we need to plant with this thing. I can definitely tell we're pushing it to its limits. If Walter still has his 4440 sitting outside, I want to stop by and take a look at that. I would have loved to own this tractor, but as I mentioned earlier, Walter just kind of wanted a little too much money for it. Maybe if I tried to buy the wagon and that tractor together, he'd have given me a little bit of a deal. But the price point to power that this tractor was compared to that, I'm kind of glad I went with this. His had a Turbo 2 intake, chrome stack, straight pipe, and a rock box. And how much horsepower did this thing have? 143. 23 more than this. Maybe someday. Maybe someday. If I need another quote-unquote high horsepower tractor, we'll keep him in touch. The tractor I'd really want would be the 8870 from Ford. 210 horse, power shift, quick hitch, and a whole bunch of accessory monitors so we could run precision plant and everything else under the sun for other attachments. But we are a long ways away from affording a tractor of that size. It's the best way to get over there. Probably just jolt across. Don't mind me, Noah. Just kind of cutting through the property. Can't remember, was it 19 or 18 that's going to corn? I think it's 19 that's going corn? Yes, because that's why it looks tilled. Ah, shoot, I never sent the 2-cylinder down to go start rolling. Looks like Andy will be taking the tractor down, and he confirmed with me that it is a 620. Of course, Andy be the one driving the 2-cylinder, but if you guys would like to check out the world's greatest farm soap, you gotta go check out my buddy Andy with Andy Clean. You can find it at any local John Deere dealer. You can have some good, clean fun and keep your stuff looking as nice as I like to try and keep my stuff looking. There's a good chance he might even be going by the time we get back around. Oh, Andy, where are you? Can we see him coming yet? I'm nosy. Let's grab binoculars. Andy, you're all over the road. Oh, yeah, he's on the move. His character might not be rendering in, but there he goes. Ooh, I never even looked at the layout of this. We might have to change the angle the roads are planted. Yep, we are changing that to 90. Or 45. No, it'd be 90. There we go. Apparently, Giants came out with an update a while ago where it's not exactly like row crop ready, but they made it where the planter did look like it accurately plants the crop. I'll be interested to see how that pans out. Gonna give Andy a ring to make sure he gets started on the rolling. Cross our fingers that the AI actually works. And then that will get us completely ready to finish planting the corn, get the planter shuffled over to beans, and plant beans. Ah, beautiful. Andy's working just fine. He must have been on a soap call. He just got started. Double check his work, make sure it is going to seed bed. Yep, that's going to take him a while. We'll let him do his thing. That finishes up plot number 2. And while we're over at my apartment that we've only been at since first episode, might as well check the mail. Credit cards, bills. Hey, a paycheck. Probably worth like 10 cents, but you win some, you lose some. Might as well grab a water while I'm at it. I've slightly had to resort to parking on the street. My truck's just a little bit too long to park in that little parking stall. Again, I would love to build a house out on that land, but that's expensive. Unless I get a trailer house, I could do that. We went back in and finished that little strip that we missed last time. Trying to decipher though if plot 10 or plot 30 is the bigger of the two lands. I feel this one's bigger. I also need to find a way to make a field entrance. I think this is probably the best place. Let's see. It's probably going to be another north-south. Or that works too. This year, we're hopefully going to try putting a big focus on paying off the debt by continuing to push with my custom spraying company. That's really a good chunk of the reason we were able to survive last season. But now that I have this tractor, we're going to be a lot safer. This would be a really great example where it'd be nice to have the secondary tractor. Because I do not have something else to pull the sprayer, I now can't do pre-emerge until this tractor is off of the planter. Could I throw it on the Minneapolis because that's got a 3-point? Yes, but that's not a row crop tractor. Kind of forgot about this track. Don't worry about that. Don't want to bore you guys too much going back and forth, so we will jump to the last ground of corn for Katie, and we'll see you guys back at the farm to kind of wrap things up. We'll dive into bean harvest next time, as I'm sure we're going to have a couple of spraying contracts for pre-emerge, and maybe have to do some work with the co-op. Checking back in on Andy, he seems to be making some really good progress. If we take a look at the rest of the plot, he's maybe got about 4 or 5 passes left. But I'm still rolling on the last plot for Katie with corn. I just kind of wanted to fly the drone down to see how well Andy was doing. Plot's looking good, but they are some long passes. So kudos to you, buddy. Kudos to you. For all you map hunters constantly wondering what map we are using, this is Ashton Corners. It is a MRG public map. I think version 2 came out not too long ago. I don't really have any problems with this one, so I'm not really going to upgrade. But we finished plot 10, and quite literally, I just got started with plot 9. Looks like we might have enough to plant next year's crop. Depending on how much money we can get out of this crop year, we might be able to get some more land to rent. The other thing we're still going to need to look into is grain storage. I do not have any grain bins to store this stuff. And if I'm running 2 different crops, unlike the Milo from last season, we can't just store this stuff in the wagon. So whether I store it at Marcus's, Walter's, or even the co-op, I'd like to have it on my own land, so that way I'm not having to pay a fee. We'll just have to look into what the prices of grain bins are. That's enough yapping about farm work. We'll see you guys back at the house. Try and finish up maybe water in the garden or something, and we can go from there. If I were to place a grain bin down anywhere, the most ideal spot would be right between this road and the garden, or right next to the gap between the side door of the shed and the main opening. Otherwise, it's going to have to go right where the Minneapolis is sitting, and I kind of like that, or I would like to have that for almost a drive-around area. I just haven't gotten to putting a new layout. The corn crib would be nice to utilize, but I think it'd be best just to completely destroy that and then find a better use for that spot, as well as the old corn silo where they just throw the husks in. There's definitely some modernizing that we need to do to this plot, but that is not the task that we need to do at hand. Andy is still finishing up the rolling. He'd probably be done here in the next 5-10 minutes. We're going to get the planter shoveled over to seed so we can get the Pioneer into the planter boxes. And I'll probably have to get on the lawnmower to start cleaning this place up again. Ah, there he is. Yep, Andy's done now. So if you guys need me, that is going to be all for today's episode. If you guys would like to follow up on this series, you got to make sure you check that playlist up in the top right-hand corner of your screen. What the heck just happened? Come on now. Don't be like this. So make sure to keep it light, keep it loose, keep it fresh, and most importantly, keep it fun. We shall see you guys all in the next one. This is the Rental Man out. And the thing just killed. Peace.